What you're about to hear is a rebroadcast of a Blog Talk Radio show done in June of 2011. What I'm doing tonight is presenting it to you for your enjoyment and for you to listen to some of the things, the very interesting things that the callers had to say, and most of them were men, about why men are single and what kinds of things are keeping them that way. A lot of it, of course, I felt was just BS excuses, but we'll see what you have to say. Remember that this was my phone number. As you hear phone number shouted out, that was my phone number in 2011. Please don't waste your time calling it. I don't know who you might get, but I'm sure if you call them late at night, they're going to cuss you out. So don't call the number that you hear shouted out. Do not call the number. Just listen to the video and share your comments and thoughts and your opinions on what you hear down below in the show description page. This is Deb Cooper. I'll talk to you soon.
We hear all the time how many single black women there are. Oh, 70% of all black women have never been married. They're single. Oh, my God, it's just horrible compared to white women, Asian women. Why aren't black women married? Well, I decided that we should look at it another way. That way is black women, for the most part, want to marry black men. They're dating black men. They're obviously having children by black men. So if black women aren't married, it means that black men are not marrying them. That's what that means. So if there are so many single black women, that means there's a hell of a lot of single black men too. So why? Because I personally meet guys all the time that say they want to have a woman who is, they want to get married. They want to have a family. They want to have a wife. They want to have that whole car in the garage, white picket fence thing. They want to have that. But they say it, but I'm not seeing any real evidence of many of these men putting forth the effort to make that happen. So, it's one thing to say that you want to do something, but it's something else completely different when you're actually having solid proof by your behavior of trying to really, really exert energy and focus in that direction. And I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing a lot of lip service, but I'm seeing dudes go from woman to woman, woman to woman. Many of them, in retrospect, because they've said this too, would have probably made a really great wife for them. But why did they not propose? Why did they not move forward with a marriage, joining forces with that woman and making a home and creating a family with her? What is the deal with black men? Why are so many black men single? And that's what we're going to talk about on the show tonight. If you have a comment, you have a question, you have an answer to the question. This is the time to talk about it because I'm really curious about this. The number is 347-327-9215. That's 347-327-9215. Press 1 on your keypad to get to signal me rather on the switchboard that you wish to have your call picked up versus, just listening over the telephone, which people do all the time. So we can differentiate between the listeners and the actual participants in the show. The topic on the table, why are so many black men single? And, excuse me, it's like the issue of sisters being single has been covered by every major news media, and major publication in the country over the last 3 years. Every single issue that there is about black women not being married has been micro-examined, re-examined, and regurgitated ad nauseum for several years. But not once, not one time, even on panels that had black men on them, has the issue been addressed about the equal numbers of black men that are not married. And, you know, we can't marry ourselves. So if a black woman is holding out for marriage to a brother, and that's who she wants to marry, she wants to have black children, and you guys aren't stepping up to the plate and marrying these women, well, that gives you no right then to complain about how many women are single. You need to shut up. Don't you say nothing about it. Don't you ever try to ridicule a woman again by saying, well, that's why y'all single. Because you know what? They're single because of you. It's your fault. So, you know, take the responsibility. If you wanted to, you know, change that statistics, you have the power to do it. I'm sure each and every one of you know some great women that you could marry tomorrow, but you don't want to do it. And that's why that's what we're going to talk about tonight. 347-327-9215. I think I know who this is. Area code 317. Your mic's open.
Hello, Miss Heartbeat. This is Steve from Indianapolis. Again, how are you doing?
I knew it was you. How you doing?
I'm doing good, Miss Heartbeat. Yeah, we talked last show, and yeah, I knew this was coming up, and we talked about this for briefly on last show about, you know, a lot of men just don't want to be married, you know.
Why?
And
Why
you know, before, you know, back in the day, it wasn't easy to get sex. You know, even my grandparents verified that. It wasn't easy. So when men get whatever they want, like you won't hear any Pookie Ray Rays calling in complaining because they're getting everything they want. And when men get everything they want, they're not, you know, they may not be inclined to get married. Number two, a lot of women are choosing careers over marriage. If they're working 60, 80 hours a week, how can they raise a child? You know, like I don't have any children, but if I have children, how can they raise, how can she be?
No, wait, whoa, rewind. We're not talking about women. We're talking about men because, you know, there are many women, they're dating these guys for a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. They want to get married. The man, you know, the guy, he's there. I mean, he hasn't gone anywhere. He tells her he loves her. Some of them even have kids, and they live together. They do everything like man and wife, but the man doesn't want to get married. And so that makes him a part of the statistics I'm talking about, which is single black men. And there's just as many, the percentage of black men that are single is neck and neck with black women, like 49.2 versus 49.5 or something. I mean, it's like neck and neck. So it's not really appropriate for men to bitch and complain that, you know, black women are single. Your numbers are just as great. So
you're right. Let me talk about myself here. If I talk about myself, it'll eliminate a lot of that about black women. Let's just talk about me. I mean, in my dating pool, you know, it's not as great. I mean, just because women outnumber men, but the dating pool, it depends what men are eliminating. Like, you know, I don't have any children, so a woman with children will be a problem for me, especially when I want to have a child for me to raise on my own. That's number one. That's the biggest problem I see that's limited. That's hindered me big time over the years. Most beautiful women, a lot of them have children. Second problem for me personally is a situation where we're dealing with the combative and different things of that nature. That puts a lot of women in the off category. If we're not best friends, I can't marry you because it's going to end in divorce. And we did all this in vain. There's no 35, 50-year marriage if we're not best friends, you know what I mean? So that is a big factor in it as well. We have to get back to being best friends. If we're not best friends, we're not going to get married. It's in vain. It's going to fail. It's going to crash. I can guarantee it, just like the stock market.
Okay.
So,
now
you know, those are the two biggest reasons for me. But, I mean, I have a list of a lot more if you want me to go more in depth about it.
Wait. I want to ask you about this friends thing.
Yeah.
So, how can a woman and a man establish a friendship if the guy is pressuring her for sex?
You have a point. I mean, different men are different. Some men pressure, some men don't. Some men just have it thrown at them. But sex can spoil a friendship. That is correct. Everybody's seen that happen. So, yes, sometimes you don't need to rush sex. need to get to know a person. And if you're not compatible, just shake hands and keep it moving. There don't have to be this bitter breakups that I always see. You can just shake hands. We're not compatible and go on about our business. I wish you luck someplace else in life. But this is bitterness and this, if somebody doesn't get what they want, it's just a bitterness there. And it's like, man, we have to get friendship going first. I mean, you can't put the cart before the horse. So, and then, let's see here. And then, I mean, of course, we have a lot of overweight women in our society, and I know people are going to complain about that, but men are visual. Everybody knows that. And like I was saying before, a lot of men it's like a car dealership. When you're looking to buy a new car, you're going to shop around town, you know what I mean? And so when men get tired enough, then they eventually will get married. But until they get tired. He has to get tired of having sex with all these women. Once he tires himself out, settles down, you know what, I'm established in my career, I'm ready to settle down, then he's going to make the appropriate moves to meet that specific type of woman. And men are looking for a respectable woman. Cleavage and all this dressing, hoochie-fied doesn't work for all men. Some men love that, but not the professional upper class type man may not be going for that type of look. And so that's that disconnect, especially the personality aspect. I think that's the biggest disconnect in the black community. The personality's not being compatible, the arguing. We can disagree without being disagreeable. We don't have to sit there and throw frying pans across the room at each other, all that type of craziness that goes on. And a lot of women are in jump-off categories by men because of those reasons I spoke to you about earlier. And they may not want to wife up a woman just because she's a woman. See, a lot of women think, I have a vagina, I deserve to be married. No, you have to bring more to the table.
They don't think that. But what they're thinking is, okay, I've been with this fool for 2 or 3 years, and, I want to be married. I'm tired of this situation right here. We should move to the next level so we can start really building something and, create a legacy for the family we're talking about having. And
that's beautiful. You know what? That's a beautiful thing you just said.
But brothers dig their heels in and they don't want to move forward. And
right.
I wanted to figure out, okay, if she's good enough to date for a year, 2 years, she's good enough to sleep with, she's good enough to live with, your family know her, your friends know her. What is the holdup?
He's got other women on the side probably. That's probably why. I mean, a lot of men, see, this is the thing. When men decide to get married, I found this out. They have more than one woman they can get married to. These options are going in his head. Because, see, a lot of men, when you marry a man, a lot of women think, okay, I'm the only woman for this man. Otherwise, he wouldn't have married me. That's not true. A lot of men have a lot of women as options. And so just because he chooses to marry a woman doesn't mean he didn't have other women on the side. It's just he chose you over her. So it really is a competition, but she doesn't know it the whole time she's in a relationship. She doesn't know he's cheating on her and doing all this other stuff. I mean, the men that flagrantly cheat and want a woman to know and don't care if she find out, that's because he didn't give a damn about her. But a lot of men are very sneaky and more sneaky than women realize, and they cheat and get away with it all the time. And that's a big factor too. Plus, if you're in a 3-year relationship, most men will marry you within a year. Like my father and grandfather, we talked about that on previous show. It don't take no 3 years. She's just a jump off to him. That's just a jump off situation. He's driving her car around town and using her gas money, and if he's living on her, sleeping on her couch, he's using her as a pimp in the whole situation. That's all he's doing. He doesn't want to marry her.
I'm glad you said that because I tell women that all the time. A man who's serious about you will be making some noises about marriage within 3 to 6 months. If he's not doing that, you need to cut his behind loose and keep it moving. Because if you're of an age 30 years or older and you ready to get married, and he just dive time and pussyfooting around talking about I'm not ready and we need to do this, those are excuses. Get rid of him. Don't be so patient. Women are just too damn patient with me, and they give them too much rope, too much slack, and yank them in, yank them fools in. And say, look, you got until such and such a day, or if you're not going to do something here, I'm out. And don't make it like a threat. Just tell him this is the plan you have for your life, And if he wants to be a part of your life, this is the timeline that's, that you've allowed. It's not a matter of making, like some of the people say, well, you're trying to give me an ultimatum. It's not like that. I mean, I'm not saying deliver the message in that way. I'm saying be very clear about what you want for your life and the time frame under which your things are going to be happening with or without him. So if he wants to be as part of it, he can jump on the wagon. If he don't, then stay behind on the shore. But the wagon's leaving. It don't matter. You don't have to be on it, but we gone. Bye.
It's a forced situation. A lot of people are trying to force a marriage. They're trying to force this man to commit. They're trying to force this woman to commit. See, you can't force love. You can't force marriage. It has to flow like the river. It's got to flow to it. You can't force it. A lot of people are trying to force people.
No. They're not even trying to flow. What they're doing is trying to take advantage of the situation so that they can get all the benefits of being a husband without any of the responsibilities and obligations. That's bullshit.
You're right.
And that's why I'm saying a woman has to. It's not a matter of forcing. It's just a matter of telling him we ain't playing this game. So either you get with the program or you get gone. But either one is I'm going to still get married. It just won't be to you. That's what I'm saying. But anyway, let me get this next call. 646, what's your question or comment? Hello, your mic's open. Okay, I'm not sure what's going on with 646, but we'll get back to that person later. Okay, let me talk about this a little bit. This one guy, he wrote this thing. He was talking about why successful black women are single from his perspective, and it basically touched on why men, didn't want to get married. And his number one thing was he said that black women are reaching too high, that their standards are too high, that they want, a brother who is, what they consider to be on their level. Like, he was like, what's wrong with a district manager at McDonald's if she's an attorney? What's wrong with that? And I thought about it, and I thought, if all we were our jobs, that might be okay. But you have to look at someone who is a professional person on that kind of level. They tend to travel in a different social circle. Now, unless her district manager guy has an MBA and is very articulate and well-read, he is going to feel out of place in his wife's social circle. It's going to be in a very awkward situation when her partners have parties and social events, and she brings her husband, and they're talking about Nietzsche and, philosophers and the art of war and, whatever's going on in politics, and he doesn't know anything about those topics. And he doesn't like to read. He watches TV when he's not at work. He watches sports. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. That's what I call a basic man. But a basic man and a go-getter, Ivy League educated professional woman that travels in the upper echelon of society are a mismatch. That's not going to work. They don't have really much in common socially, intellectually. You know what I mean? So they might get married and try to make it work, but there's always going to be some conflict. There's always going to be a problem. And if you know this going in, it makes no sense to go down that road. So for him to say that that's what a black woman should settle for, I think is wrong. And I think that is one of the contributing factors to black women not being married to these guys, because the guys know that they're not on those women's level. So, there's just no reason to try to date her or even to marry her, because they know that they don't measure up. So it puts, these highly educated, sophisticated women at a slight disadvantage in the dating pool if they stick to just black men, because, the black men that are on that level are few and far between. Let's see if we can get 646. Are you there yet? Is your mic
Hello?
open?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. We tried to get you on, but your mic was dead, I think.
Okay. I just wanted to have a couple of comments. In the chat room, we asked a question and just wanted to bring that question up. The answer, one of the guys talked about the system being rigged, and that women are, he alluded to the fact that women will take what men have, and that's a big turnoff for men getting, for black men getting married. And so, I wanted maybe that might be a point to address, because I'm not sure if that's a myth or where that comes from, because I think a lot of these men look at TV and they see these celebrities, they see Jay-Z, they see all these, they see P. Diddy, they see, or whatever the hell he's calling himself, they see all these people with all this money, and they see these big settlements and divorce, and somehow they put themselves in their shoes, but most men aren't thinking it like that. Most men just hold a regular job, and if the statistics or anything to go by, most black women are they are, educated, at least they're in higher education, more in higher numbers than black men. So they, while, women don't make the same on the dollar as men do, women are still in 2011 holding things down on their own. So I'm not sure why men still have this thing that, that's a myth.
Well, they have a lot of myths. What I've noticed about black men, they're very scary people. And so they will tend to scare other men with these little, fairy tale stories about what happened to somebody's buddy that, was some other person's cousin's buddy's friend's neighbor. And then these stories, spread through black male kingdom. And they all, nobody really knows anybody personally that this happened to. These are all stories that they heard through a friend and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, if your woman is making more money than you, most likely the one who's going to be out of pocket paying alimony is going to be her. So I don't understand where this thought is coming from.
And even if they're not, women are making money. They're holding things down. So I wonder why this is a big fear that men, go into, that, well, if I get married, I'm going to lose everything. I think, that accounts for a lot. And the funny thing about it is, the women who end up actually winning a lot, white women, they get more money in the higher divorce settlements are not by women of color. To this date, the highest divorce settlement, I believe, came from that guy that created the Tom Clancy novels. His wife, she really took him to the bank, and so, but white men still marry, on average, in a higher number than black men, even with the risk of, losing things. Look at Donald Trump. He's married how many times? 3 times, some of them more than once. Look at Paul McCartney. If we're going to look at celebrity lives, he just got engaged after his nasty divorce from a woman he was married less than 5 years, who took a big chunk out of his billion-dollar fortune. So I don't know what the fear is that black men have. She's going to take everything. That I think it's just an excuse, because if you want to use that as a reason, white men get taken to the cleaners far more than black men. They have far more bank to get taken by, and they still marry. And I just want to also address this caller that called in first, Steve. He had a laundry list of all these things that were, about black women. They're too fat, they're too combative, they're too this, they're too that, and all of these things. Which I think is crap, because it's like, oh, well, black women are the only ones, they're not fat white women, white women not combative. See, all these myths and stereotypes, again, I think that men watch too much TV and they think every woman is, what's that, Rasheen or whatever that was on Norbit. They think she's that person, whatever her name was. What was her name? Rasheen or whatever. But they think that they're her, and so men look around, and then at the same time, I go, well, look in the mirror. What do you look like? Are you Tyrese here? Men want what they themselves are not. I can name. Are you Boris? What is this? I can never say his last name.
Boris Kojo.
Are you Boris Kojo? Okay. Or I can name some fine ass soccer players that I've followed soccer that were really. But they want to turn around and say, well, women are too this, women are too that, or they're too combative. Women can say the same thing. Men are too lazy. They're not the ones that they're in jail too much. They're not going to college. They're not trying to improve themselves. They're not husband material, because they can't even show a woman that they can carry a family. So, but at the same time, they want to lay up and receive wife benefits, and then turn around and castigate the woman for giving it to them. So, it's really, personally, I think it's just that black men are socialized to just not be family oriented, not like white men are. And I saw something on TV a long time ago from, I think it was what's his name? The Gates guy, William Gates, whatever. He talked about how there are two kinds of black people, those that, are family oriented and those that aren't, and I think that there are some black men that just aren't. They just believe in skating and running, and they're just not family driven. That's what I think.
And I think you're absolutely right. Okay, let me put you back on hold. Thanks for calling. Caller 254, what's your question or comment?
Hello, Ms. Cooper. How are you doing today?
Hello, just fine. What's going on?
No, I just was listening to your show. Figured I'd go and put my 2 cents. Everyone has an opinion, so I figured I'd give mine. Myself, I'm 34, single, no kids. As far as for myself, marriage within itself is not the destination for me as much as finding the person best suited for myself and vice versa. If that happens, I have no problem with being married, commitment, monogamy. My biggest fear is marrying the wrong person. You see that very often. I don't play the blame game. Everybody needs to be accountable. Quit pointing the finger at everybody else. Life is about choices. Make your next move your best move. But
how would you know if a woman was the right woman?
Well, it's I don't have a laundry list of 50 million things I look for. I take the MLK approach. The content of your character reigns supreme with me. I'm actions oriented. Words don't really do it for me. I don't care if you're light skinned, dark skinned, tall, small, big. It's just the person, how we vibe, how we click. My biggest thing is, if you want to be with me, it's like a 401k. It's all or nothing. You got to be fully vested in this and understand that what we have, we stay in a bubble. Everyone else's opinion is null and void. It's between you and I, and we're working towards a common goal. So often people want to be married, but don't want to put in the work. It's like a job. Everybody wants a job, and everybody want to work. Everybody has that ideal of instant messaging, instant coffee. They want instant gratification. You just think, okay, I go to school, graduate, find this person. We get married 50 years ahead. We watch our grandkids play out on the lawn. It don't work that way. Everybody say what they want. But a lot of times what people say they want and what they actually want isn't one and the same.
Yeah, that's what I said at the top of the show.
I've dated and had plenty of relationships, and the topic has come up. I was as far as, buying a ring. The relationship ended not because of wanting to be married. The relationship just ended, so. I know, as far as for myself, I've seen numerous guys that I work with. Most of the guys I hang around with are all married. Now, I've normally hung around guys 10, 15 years older than me, so I've seen guys who've been 2, 3, 4 marriages. That's not what I envision for myself. If it's something that's going to happen, it's going to happen once. It's not a trial and error. Well, let me try this. I don't really like that. Move on. That's not how I operate. I know we don't really have many families, a big example of long-term marriages and relationships. Most people, it's either Bill Cosby and Felicia Rashad on the Cosby Show, or maybe the Obamas, but it's the foundation of our community. We used to be the most tight-knit grouping of people. Now it's like, okay, I got a kid with him, he got 2 kids with her, and, it's just like, but I don't let stats and numbers dictate how I live my life, because based on that, I grew up in a rough neighborhood. I guess I'm supposed to be in jail right now. Why would I go to college just because I grew up in this neighborhood? You can't live your life based on stats. It's your life. This is your only shot. There is no do-over. There is no reset button. I grew up as an only child, so being alone is not that big of an issue for me personally. But the search continues. I love black women with every fiber of my being, so why would I want to dishonor? And I see it all the time. I've met a young lady in the barber shop. She was telling me that her man was sorry, he wasn't this, he wasn't that, he ain't working. So I'm like, wait a minute, you got a man living at your house with you and your kids, you paying all the bills, taking care of everything? I'm like, where can I sign up for that? That's the greatest thing on earth to me. I'm like, I as a man, I could not do that. My mother raised me totally different. I was raised by a black woman, and the most influential people in my life have all been black women. So as a man, there's certain rules that come with being married. First and foremost, your wife comes first. Then, if you do have children, your kids come before you. Put yourself in last place. That's just the way it walks. Just like if you're walking down the street with a lady, you walk on the side nearest to the curb. That's just the way it goes. There's certain things that come with just being a man that you have to be ready to do. And a lot of guys, I mean, they have that mentality. No, they have the mentality of like a Paris Hilton. If you constantly giving everything, you don't appreciate anything. If you don't have to work for anything and everything just comes easy to you, you don't appreciate it. The first car I ever had, I bought myself. I love that car. I bought it myself versus if somebody just gave me something.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, listen to this. What do you think about this? This one guy was telling me that the reason why educated black men that are single stay single is because they're too busy seeing how many women they can date, how many women they can get at. They're not trying to settle down. It's the furthest things from their mind. And even though, they will turn around and say, well, I want to meet a special woman. I want to be with just one person. See, they're saying that, just like you said, they're saying that, but their behavior is showing something completely different. So it becomes the kind of thing I think a lot of women, and I always fault, women for this, and like ladies, stop listening to what men say. Watch what they do. So if he's telling you, I want to be with you, I just want you, I'm trying to find a wife, I'm this and that. Oh, my God, that sounds wonderful. That sounds good. But if you, you kicking it with a dude for a couple of months and then you catch him out, he's all hugged up with some other babe in the booth at the restaurant, well, then I would think that perhaps maybe what he told you, you really should rethink that.
Well, it is, men dangle a carrot. I could see myself with you. I could see us having a life together. So every time, just keep throwing it out there. So when she's like, well, I'm not seeing it in your, but baby, I'm telling you, we can do it big. We can be together. See, you can't be true to anyone else if you can't be true to yourself. You can only lie so much. Well, I won and we could. I'll give you an example. A gentleman asked me to make some CDs for he knew somebody who was getting married. He was helping to coordinate the wedding, right? And he wanted me to make a CD of songs that they were going to give him the gift back. You know, this couple had been together for 17 years.
What?
And he finally decided, okay, baby, I think we should go on ahead. And I'm like, it's about time. Your daughter's about to graduate from high school. I'm like, come on, man. 17 years? 17 years. I give her.
If you're lucky, I might give you 17 months. Maybe.
Honestly, I don't think women really truly realize the power they possess. And I get tired of this. I hate when men I don't want her to think. I don't want him to. It don't matter what nobody thinks. It's what they know. As a woman, you draw the line in the sand. This ain't a pressure-packed situation. I see you do you hold me in high esteem? Because I certainly do. I'm not going to have kids who give you every benefit of a relationship and you can just up and just go. I know a woman that happened to when the man she was with, they had kids, they were living together the whole nine, and he died. He got killed in a car accident. So life insurance and all that stuff, that wasn't his wife. Legally, that wasn't his wife, so the insurance people didn't justify what he had done. It's not just about making it in the eyes of God and everybody. If this is your lady, if you truly care and love for this person, that's your full commitment. You're giving it all right there. If a person is wavering or, well, I don't know, then you need to just chunk up the deuce and go.
Yep,
leave that person by the wayside, because that is the craziest thing.
Let me put you on hold for a minute, okay, and get this other call back in here. Okay, Steve, you got another question? 317. Yeah, you got another comment?
There's some breaking up. Maybe we should ask the chat room if they hear you breaking up too, or is it my phone? I'm back. Basically, they keep throwing up these jail statistics, and that is really annoying me, Miss Hart. Maybe we should have a show about statistics of black community, because people keep misquoting this. Black women make up the highest jail percentage of their gender, as well as black men do. In our face, even in the chat room. I'm like, stop misquoting statistics. That is getting annoying.
They may make up the highest statistics of female, but the number one statistic of prisons, period, is black men. So, women are very as a gender, are a very small percentage of the prisoners in the country. They are not mostly male, and they're primarily black men. So we're not really talking about that.
I wanted to balance that out. But another thing, too, Ms. Harvey, I want to talk about is the perfect person. Because I see this so much and so often. I really believe with all my heart, Ms. Harvey, people are looking for the perfect person. And I see women eliminate men just off one thing, or men vice versa. And so men eliminating women off one little thing, one little argument. So that is another big thing that maybe a show need to be talked about, is looking for Mr. or Mrs. Perfect, because that is a big problem. Do you agree with me, Ms. Heartbeat?
Well, I have something to say. I'm going to put you on hold, and let me address this one thing right here. Excuse me. I think, this one guy sent me a little note, and he says, why am I not married? It's simple. I'm selfish. Not selfish in a bad way, though, he says. Selfish in that I don't want to completely share my life with another person. I like my life just the way it is right now. Sure, if you're in a girlfriend-boyfriend relationship and you're still sharing your life, but I doubt it's to the level that marriage is. So in a nutshell, I'm not married because I don't want to be. Plain and simple. And I think that, it's probably a lot of it, because you hear, a lot of guys like this guy, you like Mr. Steve, with a long laundry list of what they want in a wife. I rarely, as we have done this show for 3 years now, and I've presented this question numerous times, what is it you guys are going to bring to the marriage? What is it that a woman would want to marry you for? How are you going to make her life better, easier, more pleasant, happier? Not one of them has been able to give me an answer. Not one man. And I don't even know how many hundreds of shows I have done over the last 3 years, and not one. You got to be, okay, you see what I mean? So, guys, you need to understand this one thing. When we're talking about marriage and we're talking about, you being a husband to a wife, a lot of brothers want to jump into the Bible and want to start talking about, these traditional roles, and black women don't know how to be submissive and all this old shit. The bottom line is, that's not the kind of marriage that a woman is looking for. If that's all you coming to the table with, you're trying to control her with the Bible, no woman is going to want to marry you. You're going to die single. Die by yourself. So, this whole thing about, and the other thing I wanted to say, too, is that what men don't realize is that men's lives are better when they're married. Women's aren't necessarily, but, we're not going to talk about that. I'm just talking about men, the advantages to men to be married. You have someone to take care of you. You have someone to make sure you have nutritious food, that you eat regularly, that your behind goes to the doctor, that you get your proper rest. All these things, that you're loved, which helps men to have lower blood pressure and less heart disease and all kinds of things. So marriage for men is very much a benefit. Being a family man, having fun, relaxation with your family, all those things lower your blood pressure, calm you, soothe you, and make you a much happier person. Those are the benefits to men of being married. So when you look at that and you look at how when a household is joined, there's 2 adults in there, they're working, so you're only paying 1 mortgage or 1 rent, not 2. You have people who, your groceries are being shared. You pay 1 cable bill. You buy, your car, your gas, all your expenses are shared. You build more wealth when you are married than when you are single. These are the kind of things that people need to consider. So all this fear about, she going to take my loot. You don't have no loot. You ain't rich. You got a fucking job, okay? Just calm down. And so it's like, you building your check, putting your check with your woman's check, you guys got to actually be able to do something. You might be able to do something and leave something for your children, like some property, like some land, like something that they can build on and they can be better than what you are. But it does start with some kind of conscious awareness of the fact that these family things in our communities is not going to change for the better, black men, unless y'all step up to the plate and take the wheel. This is going to be you. All this talk about what a woman's, her fatness level, are you kidding me? What does that have to do with her being a good wife to you and a good mother to your children? You talking about some ass. You should not be picking a woman with your dick. That's another problem with that young guys do. They pick a woman for her sex appeal, and then, of course, by the time you hit 40, you realize that was stupid, and you get a divorce and you on to the next one. Sit down and think about it. Yeah, you want to be physically attracted to your woman, but there's a lot more at stake here than your sex life. You need to look at the big picture, because everybody gets older. Everyone's body changes. Yours is not going to be looking so great in 10 years either, So this is the kind of thing I'm thinking that people aren't really putting a lot of of thought into. And I really like, guys, you need to get married. You need to. It'll help you live longer. It'll help you be happier. But you need to have a more realistic approach to looking for a wife. You need to have more realistic criteria that are going to really be something that establishes an emotional, psychological, and spiritual connection with the woman, with focusing less on the physical. And look at the big picture, look forward. Figure out what you're going to do with your life for the next 20, 30 years and find a woman that can do those things with you. That's how you find a good wife for yourself. And I think we'll go a lot further, a lot faster as a people with that approach. Okay, let's get 419 in here. What's your question or comment?
Yeah, this is Rose. And I was just listening, but first of all, just to address 646, you wanted to know who the stereotype was in the Norbit movie. Her name was Rasputia.
Oh, okay. I would have never remembered that. You are good.
I remember it because she's singing "Don't You Wish Your Girlfriend Was Hot Like Me" in the trailer, and I crack me up every time I see that. So that's how I remember it. But you and caller 646 have raised a lot of good, valid points. And you know what? I even thought about the question on last week when you guys were talking about the good black man or the myth of the so-called good black man. And it dawned on me, at least in my opinion, a lot of reasons why black men are single, I really believe that they just don't, some of them don't have the social skills, the maturity, the character, or even the integrity to date to even lead to something as deep as marriage, because it's like they're not even getting off of first base. And again, that's my observation, but it seems like dating or courting or going out or getting to know someone and becoming friends, as Steve alluded to, a lot of times the brothers don't even take that opportunity to do that anymore. They immediately want to go into like a friends with benefits type of relationship, or again, if you're a jump off, if you allow yourself to be that, or you're something less than someone that, they really want to take the time to honestly and truly get to know. They're saying one thing, but they're doing another. And I totally agree with people. People want these automatic relationships that have all the benefits of marriage, but none of the commitment, the hard work, the depth, or the substance. And so often we get stuck on stupid and paused on dumb with all this superficial stuff that you really, it's like, really seriously, do you think that's going to make a relationship work? Or when you're going through a hard time, is her booty really going to, bring you back out of, whatever, whether it be financial and illness or whatever? Are you really going to be focused on how big her booty and breasts are? I mean, it's just the dumb stuff that we just get caught up on, and we really think that that's going to make a relationship between two imperfect people sustain for a long period of time. And I'm like, I'm very old school, and I've recently had to get somebody straight, and I kind of got him straight in like 3 parts, and I was like, well, really, did I really have to take it that far? But it all boils down to a matter of respect and stepping up to the plate and just doing a lot of old school stuff that I expect a man to do, and not this, like I said, again, this friends with benefits, whatever that is, however he defines it. No, I need to know your other female friends, are they platonic friends? Because you don't sleep with your platonic friends. If it's something else, I need to know that up front. If we're seeing multiple people, we need to get that established. Don't have me thinking I'm the only one, when, as you guys have talked about, there are 5 or 6 other people. Give me the option of whether or not I want to be involved in that. Don't assume that it's okay for you to date several people at once, and I'm supposed to be sitting at home reading the Bible while you out kicking it. That's not going to work either. So for me, like I said, and I don't know if this stuff happened, like post-integration or, pre-integration, because I do know that back in the day, maybe people weren't dating and courting like we were led to believe. But, I mean, at least they talked about it. And if you had parents like I did, I grew up in a two-parent home. I had a stepfather there, but nonetheless, you know, it was stuff like that the older people and our elders stressed, and I don't even hardly hear that anymore. Like I said, it's just all this immediate gratification, and I'm thinking, well, if you can't sustain yourself long enough to get to know somebody, how are you really going to make it through the hard things that you're going to come up against in your marriage? So
exactly. So the focus, to me, the focus being friends with a woman, you know, that is, you don't sleep with your friends. So if that's really a focus for you men, you want to be friends with a woman because you want to make sure that she doesn't, you know, that you understand where she's coming from and that she's just not a gold digger and all this old stuff. All the brothers don't have no gold, but you know what I mean. If that's really your concern, then stop trying to hit everybody. Spend the time being friends with them. You treat her just like you would treat one of your boys. You hang out, you laugh, you joke, you watch TV, you play cards, you play dominoes, you shoot some hoops, you go to the gym, you go to the movies, you do all the stuff that you would do with any other friend where you get to know her, and you keep your hands and your penis to yourself. If you do that, you will have the opportunity to find out what kind of woman that she is without getting emotionally connected with and emotionally involved. It will be a good thing for the women to do because I advocate that all the time, and for the men as well. You know, I tell women, it's like if you want to sleep with a guy, you can certainly do that. You're grown. You do what you want to do. But don't expect to get up from the bed off the sweaty sheets with a relationship. Keep the shit straight in your head. That was just sex. He doesn't owe you crap. You don't owe him crap. Protect yourself. Don't be getting pregnant. And don't be getting those stupid diseases. Watch what you do. But if you just want to have sex and you're not really looking for a relationship, that's fine. Handle your business. Do it. But, you know, you want to have something, you know, you do need to establish a rapport with the person. And I think being platonic friends first is an ideal situation.
I agree. And finally, you know, what is really probably driving me more crazy than all this ad nauseum stuff about what's wrong with black people and everything they've examined on us from our earwax to our toenails is I don't want to hear another thing about black women. I'm just so over that. But another thing that bothers me is when we have these conversations, brothers tend to get stuck on this about our attitudes and us being combative, and I'm so over that. Unlike, if you know your history, black women picked cotton just like you picked cotton. They were raped. Their children were taken. They've had to be just as resilient and as tough as you are. So for you to say, oh, they're all compatible and they're this and they're that, no, they've had to know how to cope and survive and be able to bounce back against all the hardships that they had to endure. And to think that, you know, after they survived slavery, Jim Crow, and all of this other nonsense, that they're supposed to take some additional abuse that's a lot of times not even necessary from some man who, you know, can't even spring for dinner. I don't think so. I don't even think that's realistic. It's like, what?
I'm with you, girl.
It makes sense.
As a matter of fact, okay, I will put you on hold. If you want to come back, just press the 1 again.
Okay.
You made some great comments, though. Thank you for calling.
You're welcome, Deb.
You know, she made that last thing about the dating. Let me move on and talk about that. Because, you know, that's on my notes, but I was going to talk about it a little later. But let me just move that up on the agenda. Okay. Guys with this mentality, I don't want to pay for a date. I'm not trying to, you know, be taking her out. We should be going Dutch. We should, you know, we pay for ourselves. Do you understand that is not what husbands do? Now, you may say, well, we're not husband yet. No. Just like the male caller said, well, you know, a woman has to present herself as being a team player, so do you. So if you want her to be on your team, you have to show her that you're going to be a man who she can count on and who's going to treat her like she's special and important. If you can't even lay down $20 to pay for lunch, you're going to figure out, well, your half is $10.12. okay, you have not established yourself as any kind of a mate. You're not, because there's no caretaking there. There's no initiative. You're not showing her anything. And like I said, women have to be very careful about listening too much to what men say. So what he says, he likes you. So what he says, he's looking for a wife. So what he says, he wants a permanent relationship. If his ass can't even pay for lunch or dinner after he asks you out, you keep it moving. I would actually suggest as soon as he does that, you get up and walk off. Just leave him there. Don't you ever accept any mistreatment like that, of course, unless you don't care. Because the bottom line is, if you guys offer to pay and a woman tells you that she will pay her half, that's a clue. That means she's not looking at you as a future mate, in which case you accept her graciously, saying her half paying, and then you move on. But if you're looking for something romantic there, that's a signal. This is your opportunity to start showing yourself to be that guy. And if you can't be that guy right off the bat, then A, you shouldn't date because you can't afford it, and B, you can't afford to stay on a date. That means you can't afford to have a girlfriend or a wife either. That's what that means. And so, you need to stay single. So that's what I have to say about that, that dating and going Dutch thing. I know a lot of guys aren't going to agree with me. I don't care. I'm just telling you how it looks from the female's perspective, a woman who's looking for a husband. If you really are trying to show her, like I said, that you are looking for a wife and that you're a serious-minded dude, that is one of the ways that you demonstrate that mentality. So, if it's important to you that she pay her half, that means you're not ready for marriage yet because you're still in the nickel and dime phase with women, and that's not what it takes to be a husband and a father. Everybody gonna be in your wallet. You just have to get over it. Diapers, school tuition, buying their shoes, coats, paint for the walls, new beds for the kid who grew. I mean, the thing gonna be in your wallet constantly. So, if it's important for you to hang on to your little nickels, then you're not ready to be a family man. So consider that. There's nothing wrong with it. Just know your role. Know what you're talking about. Okay, 646, did you have another question or comment?
I just thought the caller made some really good points, and I was hoping you would address this traditional mindset, but maybe you did and I missed it. Someone made the comment that men aren't getting married because traditional marriages black men aren't getting married because nobody wants to do traditional marriage, and I thought that might be something to talk about.
Yeah, well, any man who, like I said, who starts with him out the gate and he wants a woman to pay for a date and then he wants to talk about he wants a traditional marriage, get the fuck out of here. You can't have it both ways. You're going to either be the traditional man from out the gate, if that's really what you want, or you're going to be the modern man, in which case, you got to take that all the way to the bank. So I don't know. These guys, I think they want traditional as far as it is convenient for them and that they get to run stuff. They have, more of a power position. They don't want the woman telling them what to do. But those men who have that mentality, you're going to stay single, and that's what I said earlier. They're going to stay single because that's not the model that modern women are looking for. And any man who's not offering to step up to the plate and be a partner with his wife, and leave her to do all the housework, leave her to do all the child caretaking, and work an 8 or 10 hour a day job and commute and do everything just like you do. So they want the benefits of the modern wife as far as making money and taking pressure off of them, but then they want to sit on their ass when they get home and have all the traditional things of service of laundry and cooking and cleaning and all that. No. That's not going to happen. So that was what I had to say about that. Okay, let's see. Let me get the 254 guy back. 254, open your mic back up. What you have to say?
Yeah, I guess as far as what you're saying about the traditional thing, as far as for myself, like I said, I was only child, so I was raised to be self-sufficient. So a lot of times, if I'm dating or seeing someone, it's hard for me to let people do things for me because I was taught by my mother that no one's going to do for you, you got to do for self. So a lot of times it's almost hard for me to relinquish that. As far as dating, if I ask you out, I'd be insulted if you tried to pay. Honestly, if I take you out and you're in my company, you will be taken care of, not because of some big grandiose gesture. That's just how I am. And that would be extended to anyone. If I ask a friend, hey, man, let's go do this, I ain't got no money. I didn't ask you that. I said, let's go do this.
Mm-hmm.
So I always want a woman, any woman I'm dealing with, friend, whatever the case may be, I want you to understand what it's like to be treated well. So you have a bar. So if you meet someone and he does not treat you as well as that, then you have something that a point, a bone of contention or something. Because I took a young lady out I worked with. We were just cool friends. I said, I'll take you out for your birthday. She had turned 32.
Oh,
that was
nice.
her first. Yeah, she turned She turned 32. That was the first time she had ever been on a date in her entire life.
What are you talking about? What
Huh?
you mean? Wait a minute.
What I mean?
What you mean? That's the first time she ever been on a date in her whole life. What?
That was the first time she ever had been on a date in 32 years. No man had ever just taken her out. I took her. I mean, it wasn't a big deal to me. I mean, it was just a small gesture, but I've learned that small things go a long way.
Oh, wow.
And it shocked me. Even some of my cousins, it breaks my heart that they've never been on an official date. I took a young lady out and opened the car door, and she stood there and had the most puzzled look on her face. I'm like, you can get in the car. She's like, you don't have to do that. I'm like, I know I don't have to do it. I choose to. And it boggled my mind. I'm just like, it really, I mean, we talk all this and how much we love black women, and it's just like the actions aren't there. It's all lip service. Don't talk about it, be about it. And I know a lot of guys, I ain't no simp, I'm no punk, you stupid. First of all, don't be living your life based on what everybody else thinks. This is your life. What everyone else has to think about, it has nothing to do with you personally. Live your life. Treat your woman well. I mean, we probably the only race of people that denigrate, disrespect our women to the nth degree and still expect them to just be a glutton for punishment and keep coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I mean, and we want to cast the blame on this person. Do your part. Seriously. Know your role.
You're getting
and shut
some
your
kudos
mouth.
in the chat room. They're like, the guy who's on the phone sounds like a gem. And it's great that you said that. Most men don't think like that. They're so worried about what their boys think. And that's true. We talk about that. That's a sign of maturity. That you have your own mind.
Well, yeah, but like I said, I was raised to be that. I mean, I couldn't disrespect every woman I take out. I would not want a man to treat my mother like that. And I like I said, I see it, and it just like, it breaks my heart. It really does. And I mean, this isn't like young girls. I mean, I've seen women in their 30s and their 40s and their 50s that continually go through this same stuff, chasing behind some sorry dude. And I'm just, I know it's thousands of books and lectures and advice and all this. Women gotta understand. I know they say men rule the world. Women rule the world. They just don't. A lot of times they just don't realize it.
Yeah, they don't. Oh, somebody wants to know in the chat room, are you engaged?
Now I'm still in that eternal hunt. I've been knocked down a couple of times, but you don't give up. So I'm still
there you
looking.
go. Well, you know what? When you talk to your mama next, tell her, give her a round of applause for me. I've been doing this show for 3 years, and I have yet to hear. I think you might be like maybe the second guy that has said the things that you said with such clarity and conviction. And, it kind of gives us renewed hope because we hear a lot of really negative things, in formats like this. You hear, you get the knuckleheads, what can I say? And, we deal with it, and I listen to it. Some of them get healed and some of them don't. But it's always nice to hear an example of someone who gets it, who understands.
Well, I certainly appreciate that, and I appreciate what you do. I've been listening and going through your archives, so I always wanted to call in, so I figured today this topic really, really struck me. So thank you for at least accepting my call. I certainly appreciate that.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you for calling.
Okay,
So, you guys, people, see, that's what I'm talking about. His mama is like on hit. She need to give classes. But it's the kind of thing that, just little things like, when my husband was alive and we would get in the car not only did he open the car door, you know, I would sit there, he would go around and he would lean in and put my seat belt on. And he always did that, and then he always gave me a little kiss on the forehead. Not on the lips, nothing romantic, just like a little tender kiss on the forehead. So it's the kind of thing like, you know, there's little gestures like that make you feel so taken care of and so protected, so like you're so valuable and important to that man. And those are the kind of things, you know, so if you have a guy who he doesn't want to open a door for you and he's you know, he's all tripping about paying for the lunch date. He, you know, if you go out for drinks and he, you know, well, I just going to buy one round of drinks and, you know, you got to pay for the other round. You know, what? You know, ladies, that you deserve better than that. I mean, if that's really, if that's the best they can do, that's not your man. That's nobody you should be spending any time with, and he's definitely not husband material. So these are the kind of guys, if you're looking for a husband, and guys, if you want to be someone's husband, you got to up your game. You have to show a woman, and it doesn't have to be expensive, but you need to show her by your consideration of her, the way you talk to her, the way you treat her, your follow-through. That means if you say you're going to do something, get off your ass and make it happen. Don't be like making excuses and just jive timing around. That's not a husband. That's not a father. That is someone who's going to disappoint a lot of people and break hearts. You're not husband material. So, you know, I'm saying all this because the topic of the show is why are there so many single black men? And I think a lot of you guys could be married. I'm sure you've had women that would have loved to marry you in your life at some point. But you stay single because there's a lot of things you just don't get. And if a woman is looking for a man to come to the table ready to go, you know, she's not really trying to raise you. That was your mom and daddy's job, and yours, you know, as you got older. So she's not going to be spending a whole bunch of time trying to fix you and teach you stuff. You need to do that on your own. Read some books, do some videos, go to some man workshops or something, some men's group discussion groups or something. Talk to your uncles and your grandfather and, you know, older men in your community. If you go to church, go talk to some of them old dudes in there, the married ones. Find out what it takes to become a husband and then do those things. And let's move this forward. You know, I mean, I have my own issues with marriage, the marriages that I see. You know, I've written the articles about it. So it's not no secret. But you know, how I feel about it. I really believe a lot of marriages are just a waste of time. But a lot of that though, guys, is because of you. If the woman is going in and you're acting right, she's gonna be right there. You know, she's gonna be right there. So you know, these women want a husband. They want someone they can trust. They want someone they can be with, and they want you to be that man. And you guys have a lot of opportunities to prove yourself to be those kind of guys, but you're not taking them. So, you know, this is creating a very, very negative situation in our communities, and I would like to see that turned around, if for nobody else's sake but the kids. You know, I had my daddy in my house, and I know for a fact that his influence made me the strong, determined, highly confident woman that I am today. And, you know, I don't know that I wouldn't still have been that way, but I doubt it because a lot of the stuff that he, you know, has taught me are lessons that I use in my life to this day. A lot of this information that he taught me, I share with you guys in my articles and books and on this show. So it's the kind of thing like standards. We have to have very high standards. I have them, and I would wish that more women would as well, and that the guys would meet those expectations. Stop being punk asses and falling down on the job. 646, you have another question or comment?
I just wanted to say one more thing. I read this book some time ago from the Unhooked Generation by Julian Strauss, and she, you know, one of the things that I remember taking away from that, in the path of finding true love, you know, a lot of people go into a relationship with what they can get out of it instead of what they can give. And I think these men that go into, you know, the first thing they talk about, well, I'm going to get raped in the divorce court, or she's going to take all what I have. You know, that funky mindset, that they don't realize they're in their own way. That whole attitude is defeatist, it's negative. You going into it with a fearful, negative attitude of what you might lose instead of looking at, well, what are you bringing to the table? What can I give? If you focus on what you're going to lose, then what you focus on is what you strengthen. If you're focused on that, how in the hell are you going to have a healthy relationship? Because you're focusing on the negative. So I think that, you know, what gets in a lot of these men's way is that they watch too much TV, they watch too much unreality shows. We know it's not really a reality show. I know that's not a word, but they need to stop doing that.
Fake
Read
reality.
some books.
Yeah.
Read some books. You know, it wouldn't hurt some of these guys to read some romance novels because the romance is $1 billion industry, and these women are lacking romance. And a lot of men don't know how to romance and court a woman, make a woman feel special. And men need to stop thinking that to want and need love is a sign of weakness and vulnerability. I mean, it's okay. And men will probably rag on that beautiful, wonderful caller that just called. I'm like, oh, my God, we're in the chat room going, he is just amazing. I don't know about the rest of the women, but when I hear men talk like that, and I don't know if he's walking the walk, but when he talks like that, that is what gets women, at least my juice is flowing. Not these men talking that old bullshit about, oh, I'm going to get raped in court, or I'm going to get divorced. When I hear men talk like that caller just talked, that makes me want to just grab him. And that's what these stupid-ass men don't get. When they talk that dumb shit, that turns a woman off and makes her dry right up. When we hear men like that
there you
talk,
go. Who wants to be with somebody who's afraid of everything? I mean, I don't know, but if you have a woman who's got more courage than you do, that's a problem. I don't know how that relationship would really work out. But I'm with you, girl. I'm with you. Because, yeah, he was talking some good stuff. I
hope he's walking the walk, and I don't know what he's looking for. He says he's still on the hunt. So, you know, I hope he's not bypassing, you know, a woman that could be perfectly compatible for him while they're looking for the eternal Beyonce. Because, you know, we do know that men are visual, and they do tend to, you know, bypass a lot of women who are perfectly fine looking for what they see on TV, which is why I think men watch too much TV. Get out of the TV, go to the park, go to the library, open up your mind. And if you open up your mind, I think that goes a long way towards opening up their heart. But when you sit in front of the TV and you watch all this trash TV, I really do think that it keeps your mind closed. So.
I agree. Okay, thanks for those comments. You know, it's this one guy, he was like, well, you know, women, when we go, you know, we want to get married, but, you know, women fail the audition. They fail the audition. I'm like, audition. Now, what is that supposed to mean, really? Oh, and by the way, if you have a question or comment you want to get in, we're down to the final 20 minutes or so of the show. The call-in number for you is 347-327-9215. That's 347-327-9215. Press 1 on your keypad, and that will raise your little hand on the switchboard. I'll know you want your call picked up versus just listening over the phone, which people do often if they're away from their computers. So, you know, he says, oh, okay, let's go back to this little maniac. You know, women fail. You know, they do stuff that's, you know, it's just not wife. It doesn't meet my standards. Now, he includes things like, you know, she's wearing weaves, lace front wigs, contact lenses, and Spanx under her clothes where, you know, he's like, you know, she should be exercising. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, now I'm looking at him and I'm thinking, dude, have you looked in the mirror lately? Your gut is wide, homeboy. Your ass is flat. Your clothes are stupid and you look funny in the face. But you're sitting there trying to have all these standards for a woman that might, you know, you don't know why someone's wearing a wig or a weave. Maybe they had cancer. You know what I mean? Maybe they have alopecia. Maybe there's like something really, a reason why this woman has survived something and she had, you know, she's trying to look normal, but you don't know that. You sitting there just making all these negative ass judgments and condemning her. And it's like, what does that have to do with her being a wife of quality for you? See what I mean about being stuck on the physical and coming up with the most asinine reasons to reject somebody? That makes no sense at all. None. So, you know, I'm sitting there looking at him. He's on a scale of looks, maybe a 5 on a good day with the west wind blowing. We'll give him a 5. But he's talking, you know, trying to demand that he should have a woman who's like an 8 or a 9. Are you kidding me? And, dude, you don't even have no money. You know, at least like be like Jermaine Dupri. He's a 5 on the look scale, but dude got money, so that boosts him on up to a 9. So, this guy, he has nothing. So it's like, but he wants to have all these standards and be bitching and complaining about women? Are you kidding me? So, unrealistic expectations. Another reason a lot of guys gay for not wanting to get married is they're being on this eternal hunt, and they keep feeling like, well, yeah, this woman is good. She could probably be a good wife for me, but I could probably find somebody better. So they never really stop looking, even though they're with someone who's perfect. I mean, they're great. Her family loves him. His family loves her. They get along. The sex is wonderful. They're a great team. Everything's in place. But in the back of his mind, he's still looking because he feels like he could get somebody better. If she's an 8, he feels like he can get a 9 or a 10. He can get the woman who looks like the model that he used to jack off to when he was 14, and he wants to always imagine himself being married to somebody that looks like that. So, it's all this kind of stuff that men are dealing with, a lot of it. I laugh when they tell me this stuff because to me it's funny. But when a woman is in love with this man and she's dating him, I'm sure she's not laughing, and I'm sure she's very, very hurt at his approach. So let's see, we got a couple of new callers. Let's get 857 on the line. What's your question or comment?
Hello there, Deb. This is Krisha. How you doing?
Hello, Ladybug. What's happening?
Everything and nothing at all. I had to call in on that one. I'm married, so I can speak on this. Let me tell you about it. A man who wants to be married, who really has standards that are grounded in normalcy and not in male fantasy, when he meets the woman that is his mate, the woman that he can build with, the woman that he can be tied to, that he can trust, that he can believe in, he is going to snap that woman up and run if she will so have him, because he is a smart man who realizes that not every woman is meant to be a wife, that not every woman is made to be his wife. Like, there's a difference between a wife and your wife. Any woman could walk around here saying she is a wife or she's meant to be a wife. Not everything is meant for you, and not all that glitters is gold. So these men running around here talking about they could do better, that's just a lack of respect for themselves. They don't know what they want. It's more so insecurity. It's a fear of commitment. It's not really anything normal. It's just, let me fucking eat and play and shit and do all I can do while I can do it. You know what I mean? It's selfishness, My sister, my youngest sister, she posted a comment on her Facebook the other day, and she said, explain to me why some of you animals don't deign it being your responsibility to wash your asses, brush your teeth, comb your hair, and at least put on a shirt that looks clean. And yet you come to me, and I have showered and scrubbed and put on my perfume and done my hair and got on my outfit, and you think that you can come half-stepping to me, and I am supposed to grant you with my presence, and this is supposed to be how things go. And all I could do is laugh at that and just be happy to see that it's just, generation after generation of women in my family that have this intelligence, and I wish more women would be this way. And I'm going to tell you, this is exactly why men are single. They don't want to do the work. Yep. They don't want to do what it takes to be a good man, to be a good husband, to be tied to somebody. They have their expectations and their demands, and that's what it is. And this is the reason that these women are not picking them and they are not tying themselves to them. My own mother, my father proposed to her for years, and she told him no. Nope, I'm not interested. Nope, until he got his stuff together. And when he did, she married him. And I think that that's a smart choice right there. I don't think that any half-ass people should be coming together trying to create a whole thing. I think if you're not whole on your own, you don't have any reason getting into anything with anybody. Two half-ass people can't make a whole anything. You have to be whole yourself to be in a marriage. And it's a work. It's not, people, they think about the day and the dress and all that whole, the accolades and the wine toast and first dance and all that crap. No one thinks about the work that comes after. And marriage really is. It's a partnership. It's a work. And it's something you have to work at. And the problem is that a lot of men are lazy. And they don't want to do the work that it takes to even be prepared to be a husband, much less to keep being one.
No, what they want is they want to be lazy, and they want to have their fantasy,
They want to have mommies who fuck them. They want to have mommies who fuck them. Mommies, basically, who take care of their clothes and take care of their house and do all the chores and do all the work and then fuck them and cook their meals and do whatever they want. They want mommies who fuck them. That's basically what it is.
That too. And they really want a woman who is going to accept them at whatever low level they are, not looking at the fact that, a woman who inspires you and challenges you to do better and to become a greater man, that's your wife right there. Not the one who's going to accept you laying on the couch playing PlayStation with your belly growing in a dirty T-shirt. So
meanwhile, you giving her side eye.
Yes.
It's like,
why is that? That's not appropriate. And it's lazy and it's weak. The woman who says, you need to do better. I know you can do better. I want you to go to school. I want you to get a better job, and I want you to change your shirt and do something with your hair. Okay, you know what? She's making you a better person. She is inspiring you, and if you really
but the
love
men
her
don't
and
hear
love
it like
yourself,
that.
you would do it.
They don't hear that. They hear nagging. That's nagging. That's her
Right,
nagging the hell out of you.
because they're lazy and they want to stay exactly the way that they are. But I'm just saying, this is a show to discuss some of the reasons why so many men are single. And it's like, these guys, we're just putting something out there. These are mature, thoughtful women who are sharing information with them. And we have some great male callers as well. So if these guys listening to this see themselves in any of these ideas that we've presented here, these are reasons why you would not be picked to be nobody's date, to be nobody's boyfriend, and definitely not to be nobody's husband. So if you really want that and it's eluding you, listen to the ideas that we're presenting here, and you could possibly change your life. By the end of this year, you could be sending us a wedding invitation.
Or a thank you. Deb, I have
one or the other.
I have one other thought. When I was dating, and even, I did this with my husband, the first question that I would ask any guy who approached me or expressed interest or said he wanted to date or whatever the hell the case might have been was, what are your hopes, your goals, and dreams? And any fool who didn't have an answer, immediately, well, no, I'm sorry, I'm not handing out my number right now, or no, I'm not really interested, or I have whatever the hell I had to say. Because anybody who doesn't know where they're going, I don't really want to be aligned to. I don't want to be in line with that person. I don't want to be attached to that person. I don't want them in my life. I don't really want to deal with it, And when I asked my husband that, and he said to me, he told me what his dreams were and what his goals were, and we talked about his career path, and we talked about my dreams and my goals. And for me, honestly, I knew right then and there that this was somebody I could build with. And I think not enough people think like that. They get hot in the ass or whatever, they get the whole love bug, and they're all cuddly, and then the honeymoon's over, and it's like, what the hell did I do? People don't think about their futures, and I think this is important. Women should have these questions and, ready, prepared to ask these men, okay, what is it that you're about? You need to know what he's about, because if he knows what he wants from his life, and he knows what his goals are, and you can see for yourself whether or not that's what you want to deal with, you can know right then and there if you want to join up. I just think it's a smart practice. I think it is. It worked for me. Maybe not for everybody, but it did work for me.
I think it's an excellent idea. All right, girl. Well, thanks for calling in. I hope people listen. They listen.
I hope so, too.
Okay, girl. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, 704. What's your question or comment?
Peace, family. This is Duchess of Wisdom. Can you hear me?
Uh-huh. Yeah,
okay,
speak up
great.
a little. Maybe use your mouth by the phone.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Now I hear you better.
Okay, good. I think the thing with a lot of the men here in America, especially our black brothers, for one, they're Americanized by the system. And another thing is the ego. A lot of times, the ego gets the best of a man, and, he doesn't know how to be emotionally balanced with the ego. And another thing I wanted to throw out there is that, sisters, we need to come together and have a sisterhood and maybe think about embracing polygamy, because a lot of times a lot of brothers are just not satisfied with being with one woman. And I know it sounds crazy, but for the black women here in America, we are headed to the point where we will be sharing men, and we need to embrace polygamy and embrace each other and have a sisterhood, and maybe we can see a change, because it takes a village to raise a family. So I just wanted to comment on that, and thank you, okay?
Okay. Talk to you later.
All right.
Okay. Let me see. Let me get my 254 dude back on here. What you got to say to all the wonderful things that you've heard?
Oh, actually, it's actually been very informative. Sometimes you got to know when to shut up and just listen. Everybody love to talk. sometimes you got to know when to just shut up. So, I mean, the previous caller, what she said was very, very on point. You know, don't be afraid. You got a voice, use it. Seriously. I know a lot of guys, I don't like a woman who's arguing and combative. I respect that. You got an opinion. I mean, I'm not a yellow screamer type, but I would rather have a woman who would voice her opinion and not say a peep. That, you know, where you don't know what someone's thinking at all.
But then they build up resentments. You know, that kills the relationship. And people don't understand, you know, when feelings come from one place, whether they're good feelings or bad, anger, rage, frustration, sad, they all come from one place. So if you're blocking that place, because you're trying to hold in something that you don't want to say, you know, you don't want to be upset, whatever, you're going to hold back the good things just like you do the bad. The dam can't filter. It's just going to hold back. So the love and the kindness and the passion and the, you know, tenderness and everything else that you would show your mate, it all shuts down, all of it, when you're trying to block that. So really, these guys don't understand. It really would be to their advantage to sit down with their woman, sit her in his lap, and say, baby, I can see you're upset. What is it that you want to tell me? And then that you just said, shut up and listen. Let her get it out.
Yeah, I had a friend of mine. He taught me something I never really. He said, if your woman is coming to you and she just has a lot on her mind and she's venting, just let her vent. We as a man always want to fix it. Well, just do this and then just let her vent and get it out and ask her when she's done, do you want my opinion or advice or do you feel a bit better now? And just let it go. Because automatically you want to do what you try. Yeah, and I've learned that. You need to learn something from her. I think that one of the biggest issues we have in our community is this. Black men and black women can talk about each other, but can't talk to each other. Everyone feels like a dart. If you feel like you're attacked, you're going to just respond when it's not the case, you know. So I mean, I really appreciate this, and especially all the different calls that I've heard, you know. But everybody who's listening, just don't talk about it. Be about it. Take the knowledge that you've learned and apply it to your life. You never know. So I definitely will myself. Only lastly, I wonder if I could, to anyone on there who's listening and maybe has some spare time, I just joined the Big Brother program, and I would, if you have the extra time, if any one of you would be willing to do the same, you can take some of this knowledge that you're putting on here and maybe give it to a next generation of kids, and it will really help out. So.
Yes. That would be ideal, because so many young men, especially, you know, they're growing up with no dad, and they're just hungry for some positive male influence in their life. That would be so great, because a lot of these guys, you know, call the show, they're college-educated brothers. They're very smart. You know, they have good morals, good values, or some of them are married. You know, some of them have grown kids. They are already raised. And they have a lot of knowledge and stuff to share. That would be ideal.
Well, thank you so much, and I hope to be able to call in at another time and allow you to use the remainder of your time on your show. You have a lovely evening.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks for calling in.
All right.
Well, you know, we still got a few minutes, so you guys want to call. If you already called, press the 1 on your keypad. It will lower your hand. And then if you have another call, wait a few seconds, and then you can press 1 again, and I'll know that you want to call, because I have like 12 people on the line. Everybody's got their hand up. And these are all people that have already spoken. So I'm not sure who wants to come back on and who doesn't. Okay, 646, I saw your hand went down and it came back up.
I just want to make this comment. I know you've addressed this before, but, you know, so men like to put the onus on women for why they're single. You know, this man just made this comment. Men are single because black women will give him all the benefits of being married without him actually having to marry her. Why would he marry her? And to that I say, that's a load of bullshit, because they act like black women are the only ones who do that. White women sleep with their men before they get married, and white men still marry at a higher rate than black men do. Asian, I mean, nobody's a virgin before they get married these days. So what do you have to say about that comment?
That black men, like I've said this probably 50,000 times, are the most conservative when it comes to female sexuality of any race of men in the world. And this whole thing about, you know, women need to keep their legs closed and all this old stuff, that all comes from Christianity. All of it. All this stuff from judgments about female sexuality. Yeah, but I mean, it's all part and parcel of the same thing. It all comes together. For there's a belief that women are responsible for giving them the benefits of, you know, of being a wife and sex and all this stuff, and that they aren't required to commit to her then because she's not pure anymore. She's not wife material.
Okay.
Yeah. That's where that comes from.
Yeah. But, okay.
Yeah,
but
no, I agree.
You know, but to me it doesn't point to the fact that you're pointing to the woman giving you these things, but nobody's forcing you to accept it. If your morals, if you have morals, why are they one-sided? Why aren't they self-directed? Why can't you say, okay, well, you know, I'm just going to pass on this. I'm not going to accept this because I want to marry you, and then we can do these things. They never point the finger back at them. They just always point at the women and say, well, we're not going to marry her because we can get what we want sans the marriage, so why should we marry? But if their morality is so high and their sense of manhood and doing what's right is so high, then why don't they marry? Then that would take the issue out of the way. But you see men who will live with women, who will do all these things and lay up with women and do all these things, and then turn around and say, well, you know, why buy the cow if the milk is free? Well, then why are you milking the cow? If your morality is so high, why can't you point the finger back at yourself and look at that? Just because somebody stole money out of the bank and said, here's some free money, are you going to take it? Do you see my point? You know,
well,
they look at it one way.
That would require a certain level of maturity and responsibility that is just not there. And, you know, it's easy to blame other people for you not being the person that you should be. It's much easier to do that.
Exactly. That's my point. You know, exactly. They want to say, well, she's doing this. But what about you? You're taking it. Does that make you any better? If you're so concerned about her doing this, then step up and do the right thing. You know, then you take that issue away. So I just want to address that. Because I get tired of seeing that. Well, we don't have to marry her. Well, why does a woman have to get married? Because you're getting all the benefits for free. Well, you're taking it. What does that make you? Does that make you exactly husband material then? Because you're exploiting a situation. Is that a good character trait for a man with supposedly husband standards and morals to exploit something like that? What does that say about you? They never want to talk about that part.
No, they don't want to talk about that part because, like I said, it's the whole idea with many of these guys, these irresponsible types, is they don't want to take responsibility for their behavior in any way, shape, or form. By putting all the responsibility on females, well, it's her fault. She's not pretty enough. She's too fat. She got too many kids. You know, she don't pass my test. She's going to take all my money. If you notice, there's the theme to every single one of them is outside. It's her. There's no examination of self. Well, why is this an issue with me? And like I said, in all the years I've been doing this show, all the different shows I've had, just for men to actually talk about, you know, marriage and what they were going to bring to relationships, not one of them could say what they were going to provide a woman in a relationship other than a paycheck, which, you know, so she got her own paycheck, and you won't be working whether you with her or not. So that's not for her. What are you going to bring to the table for her? Not one of them has ever in 3 years had an answer. So I'm looking at, until you guys can come up with something, you're not husband material. You need to be able to tell a woman what you're going to do for her in a way that's going to enrich her life.
You would be bringing that paycheck home whether you got married or not. So that's not bringing anything to her.
Exactly. That's for them, again.
Yeah. So great show. Lots to talk about.
No, thank you. I have one other thing I want to talk about, you guys, and this is a very important thing. It's the belief that a lot of men have that that they'll just bop along through life and, you know, just dating around, whatever, and that when they meet a certain woman, that she's going to transform them like Bewitched or something, you know, tink-a-tink-a-tink, and they're going to magically turn into this man who wants to be married. And I'm here to tell you tonight that's not how it works. You have to make the mental, emotional, and psychological leap on your own to being in a position and desirous of a committed, monogamous relationship and a family. You do that, then you will your outlook on women changes. Your outlook on the world changes. Your outlook on relationship changes, and then you will find your wife. Now, so many men, they're just like, well, I'm going to just go through life, I'll just know when I meet her. No, you won't. That's not how it works. You have to be prepared to receive the gift. Otherwise, you don't recognize the gift when it comes. And I'm not a religious person at all. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking no Christian nothing. I am talking about a universal rule that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When the husband is ready, the wife appears. And that's how it goes. So, you guys, I hear this all the time. Well, I'm just going, I'm going to know, she going to change me. When I meet her, she going to make me be a better man. She going to make me settle down. She's going to make me want to. So, again, this is, like I said, the overriding theme here. Black men love to put responsibility for their behavior, their lives, everything else on a woman. No. This is you. You have to decide that you want to do this. And when you do your treatment of women, the type of women that you choose, everything about your interaction with the opposite sex will change because in your mind and heart, you're now looking for a wife. So, the fine, Buffy the Body-looking girl that you used to date all the time, be, your friends giving you the high five about and all that stuff, that's not really what you're going to be looking for. Now you're going to be looking for a woman who's calm, who can read stories, who loves children, who can cook, and who your mama likes and stuff. Your whole perspective is going to change. And it changes because you change, not because a woman, quote, makes you change. If a woman has that kind of power over you, then she also has the power to, take you in all kind of other directions, which is not really the way it should be. You're supposed to be a man. You're supposed to be in control of your mind and what you do in your behaviors, not a woman, you. So this is something that's come up time and time again, and I wanted to address that because I just see that as being a mistake. Guys, you are in charge of the woman that if woman is going to be with you and all that, but she's not going to make you be anything other than the man that you already are. So if you're the man that she needs you to be and the man that you want to be, it'll be very easy for you to find a wife, and you'll be extremely happy with her. You guys going off, riding off into the sunset to live happily ever after. Be sure to invite me to the wedding. That's all I ask. So as you guys know,
you told me you love me, but why did you leave me? You were my sun, you were my earth, but you didn't know all the ways I loved you, no. So you took a chance and made out of plans, but I bet you didn't think that they would come crashing down. No, you don't have to say what you did, I already know. I found it from her. Now there's just no chance for you and me. There'll never be, and don't it make you sad about it. You told me you love me, why did you leave me all alone? Now you tell me you need me when you call me on the phone. Boy, I refuse, you must have me confused with some other girl. Your bridges were burned, and now it's your turn to cry. Cry me a river.